Hey, thanks for joining. I'd like to give you a quick walkthrough of the ProGuide, Building Your First Add-in. You can find this ProGuide right off the ProSDK landing page. Here's the quick start ProGuide. And this ProGuide is all about building your first add-in. And we're actually going to just drop a button into our add-in, add a little bit of code. It's almost the equivalent of a Hello World sort of sample, and it really gives you a kind of a quick idea on how you can actually use the SDK and build a template. So let's get started. So in Visual Studio, we just go and create a new project. Here's our add-in template. Here's one for configurations. And we'll show more about that in other videos, but we just need to build an add-in. We're going to go with the defaults here. And you can see that the add-in template itself gives you some folders here, dark images and light images for your new Pro themes. And here's the config.daml. It's already open here. That's the first class you're actually, file, that you're actually going to look at. DAML stands for Desktop Application Markup Language, and this is the XAML that's going to be read by Pro, which is part of your add-in, which defines the UI components that you're actually going to see in your Pro UI. You can see there's not much here. It's very short right out of the box, and that's until you start adding your UI controls. So let's also point out the module. There's nothing really here. You can, of course, leverage it and add code here if you want to, but you may want to also do other things with other classes. We'll show some other things about that in other videos. But let's go back to our project. We're going to right click here and we're just going to add our button, add new item. Come down here to ArcGIS. You can see the ArcGIS Pro add-ins, and these are all the templates that are part of the SDK. And there's our Pro button. We're going to go with the default name on that. Adding it in, you'll see that the button class opens up. There's our on-click event. We're going to do two things here, and these are in the actual Pro guide that you can see. We're going to identify a URI, or Uniform Resource Indicator. Essentially this is going to hold the path for the project, and I'm just going to fully qualify the assembly names here, just because it's a really simple sample here. And we're just going to do project.current, and we're going to get the URI. Okay. Then we're going to take that and display that URI path in a message box. So we're just going to put that into ArcGIS Desktop Core and, framework, dialogues. And we're going to bring out the message box and show the method here. And this is our path. And just going to concatenate that with the URI variable that we declared up there. And that's essentially it. And of course you could pop these ArcGIS Desktop Core up into the using statement, as well as ArcGIS Desktop Framework.dialogues, and do that as well. So let's do one more thing. Let's come over here to the config.daml. You can take a look and see that the button actually was added as you added the template. There's the default caption. We're going to just change the caption to show project path. So you can see that this is actually being read by Pro as Pro starts. Okay. So let's do one last thing before we build this. We'll go back to the button class. We'll set our breakpoint here so we can test that before it actually executes. And then we'll build solution. Okay, build that. Looking good. We'll start it now. And so again, the actual add-in is built. It's placed into the add-ins folder. DAML is going to be read by Pro. We're going to select In the walkthrough, you create your own project, but we're just going to select an existing project. This is the Interacting with Maps project, which is one of the ProSDK sample data sets. And it opens here in the portal end area. And you can see that when you create an add-in, the add-in tab is then shown because it's actually reading the add-in folder and finding that you have an add-in stored there. And so there's our button with the caption Show Project Path. So when we click on this, it's actually going to execute that code, and we're going to pop back here into the code, and it shows you we're actually running it. Here's the message box.show. This is our path, and you can see that the URI is actually reading that path. So there it is, the C data interacting with maps. That's the actual default location that you should install all your ProSDK sample data sets, and it's working. So let's continue on, come back over to Pro, and there's our message box popping up. Okay, and there's the path. And that's the walkthrough. Thanks for joining.